He's no stranger to controversy and somehow manages to hit the headlines for all the wrong reasons again and again. West Bengal BJP chief Dilip Ghosh had shocked everyone last week when he said that leaders ruling the roost today, quote unquote, would soon be in jail or killed in encounters. In fact, he said that bullets would be counted and corpses would be counted. Today, he told NDTV's Mornideepa Banerjee that he stood by those comments, that state governments do encounters to save society. And in fact, he said Uttar Pradesh is the champion, referring to Yogi Adityanath's controversial encounter record.
देखिए, इनकाउंटर कोई नई बात है थोड़ी ना, रोज हो रहा है कहीं ना कहीं। हर सरकार हर स्टेट में करता है। जब जरूरत पड़ता है कानून के बाहर हो जाता है। आप पंजाब से ले लीजिए बंगाल तक,
यूपी भी नहीं हो रहा है।
यूपी तो चैंपियन है और सीधा बोलते भी हैं, आप लोग पूछते भी हैं, इसलिए छुपाने की बात नहीं है। जब कानून के ऊपर हो जाता है, जो कानून मानने वाले नहीं होते हैं, तो समाज को बचाने के लिए इनकाउंटर सब कोई करता है।
आप ये अमित शाह जी को कहेंगे, उनका अप्रूवल है ये?
नहीं, किसी का अप्रूवल नहीं चाहिए। जब सरकार आएगा तब हम सोचेंगे ना, अभी तो बोल रहे हैं खाली।
सरकार आने के बाद या उसके पहले से ही?
सरकार करती है ना, हम थोड़ी ना बंदूक लेकर रास्ता में उतरते हैं। सरकार का काम होता है, हर सरकार करता है। योगी सरकार यूपी में कर रही है ना, यहाँ भी ममता सरकार कर रही है।
So has this sort of violent discourse become the new normal in our political discourse? And ahead of 2019, are we going to see more of that? Joining us here in the studio is former DGP Prakash Singh, who served as the DGP of Uttar Pradesh and Assam. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, author and journalist, here in the studio with us. Mr. Chandrakumar Bose, the Vice President of the BJP in West Bengal, is with us tonight. Senior advocate Vrinda Grover also with us, someone who's worked extensively on such cases. And Pradeep Bhattacharya, Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress, is with us. Mr. Prakash Singh, let me ask you first. When you hear politicians talk so casually about extrajudicial encounters, it actually undermines what the police is legitimately supposed to be doing. I mean, as a citizen and as a former senior police officer, does this not bother you?
No, I'm really surprised, disappointed and distressed that such irresponsible statements should be coming from a senior BJP functionary. I think he was very casual about it, and I only hope that the party sort of disciplines him and tells him how to speak in public, because if he means what he says, then that's terrible. If he is hinting at, if it is just meant to be a threat, that also is highly regrettable. In either case, it's a very objectionable statement. And in any case, even if I don't think the police now, I mean, knowing the police to be whatever it is, the police is not in favor of such encounters, because they have seen the very heavy price that they have to pay for such encounters in the past. Even when there were encounters against terrorists, I mean, where there was some degree of justification, even there the policemen had to pay a very heavy price in Punjab after terrorism was quelled. So I mean, whatever he may be thinking, firstly, I totally disapprove of his thought process. I don't think the police anywhere would oblige him with the kind of plans that he has.
Well, whether the police obliges him or not is something I'll just come to in a bit, seeing what's happening in UP. But Mr. Chandrakumar Bose, is it okay for a senior party functionary of yours to be talking about extrajudicial killings in this casual way that he has? What is the rule of law? Where is the rule of law? What is its sanctity?
Let us put it in the right context. You see, recently we have witnessed a violent panchayat polls where 59 people have died, 160 people have been critically injured. There is murder of democracy in West Bengal. So, you see, under these circumstances, I suppose Mr. Dilip Ghosh has made this statement. I personally don't support any kind of violence in politics. We are supposed to fight our opponents politically, not using force. You see, today in West Bengal, criminalization of politics, violence in politics, started by the left front, has been mastered by the Trinamool Congress. So the opposition space, we are finding it extremely difficult to save our skin. You see, today, if any political worker joins our party, he is given a death threat. So you must understand this statement in the light of the background of political scenario which exists in West Bengal today. But
Mr.
I think
Bose,
Bharatiya Janata Party, they do not support, we do not support any kind of statement that has been made by Mr. Dilip Ghosh.
But Mr. Bose, I think one takes your point that West Bengal has seen this sort of violent streak in politics, whether it was the left and now under the TMC. In fact, the Panchayat polls were in that sense, you know, quite shameful, because you had more than a third of the seats where candidates were elected unopposed just because of the kind of fear that we saw there. But when the moment you give a context, quote unquote, to what Mr. Dilip Ghosh is saying, then it in a way gives a sort of a justification that of this kind of language. I mean, he said every bullet will be made to count in that rally. You know, leaders who indulge in hooliganism in Bengal will either be in jail, or there will be an encounter, and we'll count the corpses also. And he said that Yogi Adityanath is the champion of this.
Well, it is an emotional statement, no doubt. But as a political leader, he should not have made this statement. I do apologize to the media, to the people of West Bengal, to the people of this nation, that Dilip Ghosh has made such an irresponsible statement as a political leader. But he has made it because of emotional stress. He has made it because his workers have been beaten up and killed. So you need to understand the kind of pressures that Bharatiya Janata Party leaders are facing in West Bengal. But in spite of that, I would like to say, having said that, this kind of statement cannot come from any leader of any party. We shun violence. We don't want violence. West Bengal is a peace-loving place. West Bengal people, they want development. They want jobs. They want infrastructure. They don't want violence. So I think it's good as responsible political workers, we must shun violence.
I think it's good of you to at least have you know, the courage to say that this should not be said, and that and frankly I don't know why you should be apologizing for it. You know, he should be the one. So thank you for at least saying that. But Vrinda Grover, an emotional statement, a statement made under emotional stress. I think what's bothering a lot of people, Vrinda, is that there seems to be some truth in what Dilip Ghosh says. I mean, when he talked about Yogi Adityanath's government as being the champion of encounters, he probably wasn't wrong. I mean, he's not wrong. Look at the statistics. In the first 10 months of his rule in Uttar Pradesh, there were more than 1,100 encounters, police encounters in UP, which is a staggeringly high number.
He's actually drawing inspiration, and he's saying it very clearly. It's not an emotional statement. He's announcing his party's manifesto. He is saying, this is what we will do when we come to power. And he says, this is what you do when you come to power. Look at what we are doing, what the CM of UP is doing. And that is his inspiration, as well as the precedent that has been set. There is no question of emotion involved here. And in fact, the phrase used by him is the precise phrase that was used by Yogi Adityanath, because of which, when it was reported in Times of India on 22nd November 2017, the National Human Rights Commission of India took suo motu notice. The statement made by Yogi Adityanath was, criminals will either be in jail or they will be killed. This he said as the Chief Minister of a BJP government. A similar language, the same statement has been used against political opponents. It's good of the BJP to say they shun violence. We don't see that in practice. What they are saying is, when we assume power, when we have state machinery under our control, we will then deploy state machinery, including the police, to actually eliminate. Do other political parties do it? Yes. The question to be asked is, what is to happen to the rule of law? What is to be done with the Indian Constitution? And what is to be done with the right to life of the Indian citizen? What we are seeing today is that the political leadership is repeatedly saying, we have no respect for the rule of law. The right to life of a citizen has no meaning. We will decide once we are in power what is to be done, who will go to jail. I thought courts decide that. Who will be eliminated? Courts are supposed to decide this. They have usurped completely the judicial process. This has created a trigger-happy police. In Uttar Pradesh, it always was. It has become worse because it today has the sanction, the patronage, the support. And he is repeatedly using the word champion, which is supposed to be a positive word. So this is the manifesto being announced. Once we assume political power, it does not help that other political parties do so. What happens to Indian citizens? The only ones who are today pleading that the Constitution of India and rule of law be supported and protected and respected are ordinary citizens. And we must make a link here between what is happening in lynching. It is not extraneous to this. When you are going to say, I will assume power and I will decide whose life, who will live and who will not live, that is the signal that has gone through society. There is no rule of law. You don't need to respect what courts have to do or don't have to do.
Vrinda, you raised some very key points.
Because this is the signal that is coming down.
I think, but what is also worrying Pradeep Bhattacharya in West Bengal's context is that, you know, violence seems to have become so normalized as part of the sort of political process in the state. I think it's very unfortunate that the Trinamool Congress didn't come and didn't want to come and speak on this tonight. They should have, because they do have a lot to answer for in the culture of violence that has been created. But Pradeep Bhattacharya, is that the problem? I mean, isn't that what you as a politician from there should be worried about today? That this is now, I mean, it was there before, but it's now just been amplified.
I can start it this way. While this government came into power, Mamata Banerjee's government, we had the impression that Bengal will be peaceful state. But unfortunately, now what is happening is completely different thing. Very recently, the Panchayat poll, the local poll, which took place, the Panchayat, five Panchayat, the Trinamool Congress, they came out with a firearms, lethal weapons, and etc. And they wanted to somehow to capture the situation. What happened exactly? The BJP also said that it is a tit for tat, while the Trinamool Congress trying to attack us with their arms and weapons, while we will not do that. While the police is quite silent, they are not taking any action, and the police is quite silent. In front of the police, the people are being killed, and there's so many incidents.
No, I think you've actually summed up the situation in Bengal. You pretty much summed up the situation in Bengal. So I apologize. There's a problem with your audio. We'll just try to fix that. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, let's talk about this then, about what then happens to the political discourse. Actually, what Vrinda raised is a very valid point, because now what, for instance, is happening under Yogi Adityanath's rule in UP is sort of being championed as a sort of a nationalist argument that, you know, he's doing something. And is that going to be the template?
There are two things. One is that political violence in West Bengal. Now, this is something which has been there for very long. In fact, now political violence is endemic. Part of the reason is primarily because there is no separation between the political party and the state. Quite often, we have seen it right from the time when Mr. Siddharth Shankar Ray was the chief minister, they are followed by the left front, that the political party becomes the state at the village level, at the block level. So that is the basic problem. Trinamool Congress is using the same model. So we have to really go and challenge that model. You cannot start giving responses to the problem by saying that when we come to power, we should go and actually have encounters. Now, encounters, is also almost 4 decades old as far as, in Indian, extrajudicial killings is concerned, right from the time when Mr. VP Singh was Chief Minister in Uttar Pradesh in the early 80s. From that time onwards, encounters have come up repeatedly. It came up repeatedly, as recently during Mr. Yogi Adityanath's time. Now, extrajudicial killings given the name of encounter primarily to serve a political agenda is something which has been perfected and been seen and been established also to a great extent in Uttar Pradesh. Now, this is something which has to be condemned because as has been said, this is Vrinda said, that this is spelling out the manifesto, that you want to eliminate those who you cannot eliminate by a judicial process. So that you take law into your own hand, and now you have.
How does that play out politically? As a political commentator, how do you see that playing out? Does it actually have dividends?
I think basically this is it's the same attempt which is being made by the BJP repeatedly, which is trying to maximize its support among a certain section of the people. The BJP is fairly aware that in political terms it is not going to get a very significant share of the minorities and of the underprivileged, especially the Dalits. So, which means that you are losing out on a fairly large number of blocks. So, how do you exactly win elections? How do you come close to that 40% mark which you require to win an electoral mandate? You do it by trying to maximize it. You can do it by extreme polarization. Encounter simply becomes another tool because you perpetuate this myth that look, we are targeting the other. It is not our man who is being encountered.